I'm going to show how to simplify complex fractions. Okay, in this first one, I'm going to look at this as this numerator divided by the denominator. Okay, so what really I look for is that big fraction bar in the middle. So I have this numerator and then divided by, there's division, by the denominator. So the idea with complex fractions is we can rewrite it as the numerator and then divided by, from that big fraction bar, the denominator. So we can rewrite these into problems that we actually have seen. So if I would take that numerator, a over b minus b over a, and then divide that by the denominator, 1 over a minus 1 over b. And now we'll use order of operations so that we'll simplify inside of these parentheses. So we need to get common denominators, and then we'll be able to deal with division. So get common denominators. All right, so let's see. In this first one, I'm going to have a common denominator of AB. All right, and so how do I get there? Here I already have the b, so I need to multiply by a over a. And in the second one I already have the a, so I need to multiply by b over b. And so that gives me a squared minus b squared. And then I can combine that into a single fraction, so I've got that common denominator of AB, and then it would give me a squared minus b squared when I combine numerators. And now let's work on our second fraction. So I'm going to use that same common denominator of AB. Okay, so let's see if I need AB. This first fraction, we have the a, so we need the b. And then we have the b, so we need the a. All right, and then that gives me b minus over ab minus a over ab. And then combining those numerators, I get b minus a. Great, and now I can rewrite this division as multiplication. And we would multiply by the reciprocal of that second fraction. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and just rewrite that as multiplication. So it's the second fraction here that I'm going to write the reciprocal of. All right, so here we go. In this first one, I'll go ahead and just factor that a squared minus b squared as a perfect difference of perfect squares. So I have a plus b, a minus b, all over ab. And then I'm going to write the reciprocal. And then b minus a, those are those ones that I can commute my positive b out to the back and then factor out a negative. So I'm going to go ahead and factor that as negative 1 times a minus b. And now I can do some simplification. It looks like a minus b is anything divided by itself is just 1, and then ab can simplify as well. So I've got a plus b divided by negative 1, or we can just write that out in the front. And that's done. Okay, so let's look at what we do. We look for numerator divided by denominator, and then simplify your parentheses. Okay, and then once you've gotten single fractions in both, so right here we can rewrite as multiply by the reciprocal of the second fraction, and then simplify, and we're done. Alright, so in this one, when I'm looking at numerator divided by denominator, same process that we did before, so we'll take the numerator, and then this fraction bar means division, so divided by denominator. Alright, so we've got x to the negative 1 minus 2y to the negative 1, and then we're dividing that by 7 minus y to the negative 2. And then the next step is to simplify within my parentheses and looking at what negative exponents mean. That takes the reciprocal to the positive power. So x to the negative 1 is 1 over x. And then here, the negative 1 is only affecting the y. The 2 is not affected, so it would become 2 over y. 7, and then y to the negative 2 is 1 over y squared. Next step is to get common denominators and simplify in our parentheses so that we have just single fractions in there. Okay. So let's see, I have an x and a y in my denominator. So I'm going to have the common denominator contain both of those, so it's going to be xy. And here I have an x, so I need to multiply by y in the numerator and denominator. And then this one has the y, so I just need to multiply by x in the denominator and numerator. And that gives me y over xy minus 2x over xy. Okay, and then in this next one, I have 7 over 1, so I'm going to give my common denominator, I'm going to let it be y squared. And here I need a y squared, so that's what I'm going to multiply by in the denominator and numerator, so I'd get 7y squared over y squared minus 1 over y squared. And now I combine numerators, so I would get y minus 2x all over xy, and then that's divided by 7y squared minus 1 over y squared. And now I get to rewrite this division as multiplication. So I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of the second fraction. Okay, this first one just stays as it is. We don't have to write the reciprocal of the first. So it's just the reciprocal of the second one. So it would be y squared over 7y squared minus 1. Now, let's see, it looks like I could simplify this just a little bit. This, I have one y here, which could cancel out with one of the y's from the y squared, leaving me with y, giving a final answer of y minus 2x times y, I'll just write that out in the front, and then x times 7y squared minus 1. And we are done. Okay, so what do? You look at numerator divided by denominator, and then just write that out horizontally instead of stacked. Simplify within your parentheses, get common denominators in there until you get all the way down to the point where you have a single fraction divided by another single fraction. And then we can rewrite with multiplying by the reciprocal of this second fraction here, and then do whatever simplifying you can do, and that is that.